When it comes to corn, you and I both know that if we can plant the corn seeds evenly down the row, and if they all emerge at the exact same time, we've got a better chance for high yield. Well, is that true in soybeans?
All you have to do is go out in a soybean field and you can see this is a bigger deal than anybody is talking about. When you look at emergence on soybeans, when our planting depth's all over the board, it's not even close to even, and the plants never have an even chance to compete. I think back to the time when we used to drill soybeans that my dad would say, yeah, you're going to see some beans on top of the ground, some are going to be a little deeper, and some are going to be just right at around an inch deep. Well, they were all over the board, and we had emergence spread out over weeks. You don't want that in your field with any crop that you're growing.
Unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of studies showing us that, you know what, if I plant my seeds evenly spaced in the field and I get very even emergence with soybeans, that it's that big a deal for yield. But what we would encourage you to do is just go start marking some plants in your field, watch where emergence is, and then track those plants all through the season and see which plants produce the most. Also, I would suggest taking a look at your planting population. Now, a lot of people are talking about some lower planting populations, but we still have a lot of people running higher planting populations. There are reasons why you would consider doing both. With the lower planting populations, you get more air movement through there, which means you're probably a little bit less likely to have disease. But with the higher populations, now you've got a better chance to not only get great weed control, but also we find we have less iron deficiency chlorosis when we have the higher planting populations.
One other problem that higher populations can help with, Brian, is when you have soil crusting over. You just can't get enough push if you just have one plant and you have a hard crust on top. But if you have several plants close by, they can all push together, and we often see better emergence and better stands even when we have some crusting issues if we have higher populations.
Yeah, so in terms of planting population, we still say across the board we're looking at 130,000 to 140,000 planting population, but there are cases we might go higher and cases we might go lower. And again, that's planting population. Don't forget with soybeans, the standard in the industry is much less than it is with corn. It's so hard to keep germination, is where I'm going with this, keep germination good with soybeans, that the standard is 90% germination, whereas the standard for corn is typically 95%. So what I'm saying is, even if you had what we would all consider great soybeans, only 90% of them are going to grow. That means if you planted 140,000, that's a final stand of 126,000, okay? Or 130,000, you know, boy, you're starting to get down there at 117,000. So all I'm trying to say here is, take a look at what you're actually planting for plants per acre, yes, but do a final stand count too, and you'll find that in a lot of cases out in fields, we're only getting final stands today of 100, 110,000. So when you hear some of the people talking about lower planting populations, be real careful of that, because if you start seeding 100,000 plants per acre, in some cases you might only have 70 or 80,000 plants there, and then we're almost to where most insurance companies would say it's a replant situation.
One other thing we'd like you to try when it comes to planting soybeans this year is try singulating seed. When we look at a lot of the ways that soybeans are seeded across the country, we see 2 beans dropping at the same time, or even 3 beans dropping at the same time. And what we're hearing from some of the highest yielding farmers around, whether it's in our neighborhood or other parts of the country, they're saying singulation is making a big difference for them. So it may be something to look at on your farm this year as well.
Another thing we always encourage you to look for on your farm is weeds like our Weed of the Week. Can you identify this week's weed?